Alright, welcome to part 2 of 4.3 right triangle trigonometry. Our objectives and essential questions are still the same. So how can right triangle trig be used in construction, and how can we find angle if we know the value of the trig function? So trig functions and their complements. Two positive angles are complements if their sum is 90 degrees, or pi over 2. Any pair of trig functions f and g for which f of theta equals g of 90 minus theta, or g of theta equals f 90 minus theta, are called confunctions. So here are some confunction identities. I would write those down. It sounds a little more confusing than it is. We're going to go over a couple examples which will make it make a little more sense. So find a confunction with the same value as the given expression. So sine of 46. This is going to be cosine 90 minus 46. So cosine 44 and sine of 46 are confunctions. So you have cotangent, which goes in conjunction with tangent. Pi over 2 minus pi over 12. So we have to do a little bit more work in this, in that we have to convert to common denominators. So cotangent pi over 12 is in conjunction with tangent 5 pi over 12. And that's all you're doing there. So application. This is actually some of my favorite problems. So angles of elevation and depression. An angle formed by a horizontal line and a line of sight to an object that is above the horizontal line is called an angle of elevation. The angle formed by a horizontal line and the line below is your angle of depression. So the irregular blue shape in the figure represents a lake. The distance across the lake A is unknown. To find this distance, a surveyor took measurements shown in the figure. What is the distance across the lake? So you're given the degrees, and you're given distance adjacent to your degrees, and you're looking for the value opposite. So in this case, you're going to use a trig function. You want to think which trig function uses adjacent and opposite. In this case, we're going to use tangent. So you have tangent of 24 equals my opposite over my adjacent. In order to solve this, you have to multiply both sides by 750. So in your calculator, you're going to plug in 750 times tangent 24. Let's try that again. Okay, so before, I exited out. I got a negative number. So if I were to type in this again, you get a negative number. Can you have a negative distance? No. So one thing to go and check is to hit mode, and I want to put it in degrees. So you go to degrees and you hit enter. Since I'm putting in 24 degrees, you want to make sure your calculator is in degrees. So then you want to quit, and now type it in again. And you should have 333.92 yards. So we want 333.9 yards. So just make sure, in that case I got a negative number, so that can't be right. So you want to go back and make sure it's in degrees, since you have 24 degrees, and that make sure it's measuring in degrees instead. In that case it was measuring in radians, which would give you a different answer. So make sure you complete the questions below and then work on your homework.